Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing this June the 27th, 2025 daily gold and silver cryptocurrency blockchain technology video that you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve from the #1 and retail-oriented and created for the retail trader with truth, trust, education, and information as I ask you to join me and participate along on my 10-plus year decade journey to becoming an asset millionaire via slow, steady investing into assets via cryptocurrencies, gold and silver bullion. If we take a look at the gold and silver bullion, it's down today. So that would be a very good day to accumulate, or maybe think about if you've never bought in a position, if the downtrend continues to enter. Cryptocurrencies, real estate, and steady 401k investing along with a nice size of cash on the side for peace of mind and for emergencies. Say your air conditioner goes out, there's several $1,000s. Say you need a new roof, there could be $10,000 to $20,000. Say your engine goes out in your truck, there's $5,000, right, for emergencies, and so you can accumulate a new asset if the time and the opportunity arises. Also to add in to an existing asset if the time arises, right? And you can see the Bitcoin price right now as we do that. And that's why you should become members of Jabroni Killers. You should share the channel, hit that free subscription button, and to support the channel to help spread and continue to grow from us being suppressed. It's as cheap as $3.99 a month. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. And the Bitcoin price is sitting up in an area that it's been in for about, we'll say about a month and a half after this top. Then we ran off, and then we had the actual high, but this is where the rally, the big run up from where it was coming off of. Then we had our all-time high, just about $112,000. But more or less, since about the 8th of May, we've been trading sideways, right? We've come up, down, then rolled over, up, down, up, down, up, and now is our next move going to break to the upside and go to $118,000? I don't think it is. I still think it's coming back down. What would first be coming down to a regional double bottom on this uptrend right here, and then eventually I think it could break and come down to this $97,000, sort of how the mean of the tracks all show it coming down here. And I think it's going to come down after this pump exhausts itself. I think you're getting a rounding top like you've seen here, a brief one here, and now, right? I think you're repeating the process. So that's what we're going to watch out with the Bitcoin price. Obviously, if you stay in this rising channel and continue to hold this support, if we zoom out for you to give you a better idea what we're talking about, you can see ever since the COVID low, the COVID mountain double topping low, you can see the mountain double top right here. Look at this. I mean, it doesn't get any more textbook. The big blow off top in COVID in April of 21, then the initial 55% correction, then it traded through it in a falling wedge, broke out to the upside, ended up being a mountain double top and a massive bull trap here as we briefly touched a new all-time high, barely topping out the 65,100 and change, hitting $69,118, and then trading down and having about a 65 to 69%. We'll give you an official measurement. I think it was around 69%. We'll go from about the top to the bottom wick. 77.29% to be precise was the correction. And now you can see we've been in this rising channel ever since. But it sort of looks like in our small macro time frame, micro time frames, we see these turtle bearish continuation patterns, or bullish continuation patterns, bearish as the pattern exhausts itself. You can see where we have sort of the turtle shell, and then you got his head right there peeking out. It looks like a conveyor belt, and then it eventually comes down, and the technical target would be the bottom of that conveyor belt. And we see these a lot on a shorter time pattern, but this is in the macro pattern. This is in the multi-year pattern. And if this is true, and this is the turtle conveyor belt with the head right here, if this does break out, this is the critical support that we're going to be dancing along until it decides to either have a big pump and try to rise near the 147, or it has a big dump and decides to come down initially to the 73,000 and change. And that's something that we'll be looking at as time goes on. Here's a reason as Jabroni Killers, we implore you to invest in multiple different various assets and sectors, from gold to crypto to 401k to real estate and cash, right? because it all adds up and it all moves at different times and different market circumstances. And we opened up, and I started at my new job a year and a half after I started in late 2018, like in October I started. So 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, we've had 6 full years of steady, slow, percentage coming out of my paycheck each week, and plus the returns, because it's up about $13,000 out of this is profit. You can see after 6 years, we're at $103,000, $679, and we're on our way to $200,000 in the next couple of years if the market stays true in an up and down fashion with my steady weekly contributing that goes into it, right? So there's a reason why. And somebody always says I always use the devil's numbers, but my personal rate of return, and if I were to use this in a headline, is 13.33%. That's just the way the markets work. They seem to like the satanic numbers if you're into that kind of thing. But the Bitcoin price we talked about, the Bitcoin dominance continues to rise, and this continues to heighten my belief with the altcoin sell-off and predictions that I have, as we're getting near a COVID high where you had your last capitulation when you were at 63.11, and then you crashed down to 39.92% in the last altcoin boom. And now we've been in this conveyor belt, and it's kind of built backwards. You see this? Here's your turtle the other way, where you were coming down and then coming up. Same pattern. See the turtle right there? Same pattern, but just coming down off a bearish move. So we're going to watch to see what way that moves, because that has a direct correlation on the altcoins and the smaller cap, less popular coins, right? If we look in the daily time frame, you can see the moving averages continue to trade sideways, just like it's been for about 3 weeks now. We're still sitting just like we were all last week, or at the end of last week, and now all this week. We're still north of the 100-day at the bottom, south of the 200-day at upper resistance at 2,400. And as we do know, if we're above these 3 moving averages, we're bullish, and we can come up to 3,053.86, the bottom part of this upper trading zone. Here is the consolidation we've been in ever since the big pump. Long consolidation, and then a move to the downside with the return rally this week. And now if we get rejected and start to come back below, we'll initially wick down to the 2131, and then eventually come down to the 1807.71 and be very bearish at the next part of the top part of this blue support and resistance box. The XLM is the same thing. We continue to slither and snake our way to the downside after being rejected by finally the major support level that it's attempting and trying to avert from flipping to major resistance, right, from major support for the last 5 to 6 months. Right now, if the selling continues, you're going to at least come to a local double bottom, which is a regional cycle low so far down here at the wick, but the body scattered. We were down here right about where we're at now. And then if you break that, you're obviously coming to this 18 cents. In the medium to longer term, we're looking at a potential 14 cents. If you're trying to get bullish, you got to get back on top of this 25.5 cents and then fight your way over a falling moving averages that in a day or two are going to be sitting and straddling right along this major resistance and support zone. You would have to get above those and then try to work your way up towards the cycle regional local high, right? The XRP is the same thing. It's actually trading now somewhere where we've been talking about the last few days. This one actually did wick up and reclaim a major support level, but we were talking about, and now we're dancing and we're just slightly on top of it. We were telling you after you were getting rejected by the overhead 50 and 100-day moving average right here, you're trying to stay on top of and overt a flip to major resistance from a 6-month support level at the 209 neckline support. And if we zoom out, you can see more of what we're talking about, where you have our VP volume or fixed volume profile, where you can see where all the trading and volume is. You get above this 255 level, you could shoot up and blast off because there's not a lot of resistance, but this is a heavy resistance area. The same thing with this 209 neckline support, and the reason for 6 months it's been trying everything it has not to give it up is because once you slip this, look how far off the volume dies down until you get all the way down here to $1.51. And that explains perfectly, if we zoom out into the 4-hour time frame, why when you slipped it last time you wick down. You can see where you wick down to that $1.61 because that was right in line with where the next, where the next big slug of volume came in. You see that over there? I don't know what the deal is when I go out to a longer time frame, but that's why you wick down right there beautifully. You're trying to avert that right now, but if you can't stay above it and you get below it, right now you're on the 200-day and the neckline support. You will quickly come down to, just like XLM, you will confirm this as a major flip to resistance, and you will quickly come down to the $1.61 psycho swing low, and eventually the psycho technical move of this head and shoulders at the $1.29 will be made. I am in strong conviction, and we've been talking about this for several months. Ever since the 340 top, we drew out this pattern, and we've been telling you this is what we think was going to happen. And you can see all that support I was talking about on the left shoulder, all that support on both sides of the head, and now the extenuated and trading out of the right shoulder. Essentially, for 3 months, we've been chipping away all the buyers or support on this 209 neckline support. I believe eventually it's going to give away in a big snap reaction and a flush before we start to dig down to a bottom and start to have a cycle low and have a max accumulation short, but a great max accumulation phase to potentially ride the next leg of this bull run. Like the channel, subscribe. Peace and love. The Rock's Eyebrow, Jay.